1,000 meters, a lifetime best at that distance earlier this season at Peyton Jordan. Riley Masters continues to get it done. Lifetime best at 13:16. Tom Farrell in the field, an Olympian in Rio at 5,000 who's run 13:10. So it goes on and on in this field. But Grant Fisher and Woody Kincaid, they are at the top of the billing.
Well, and again, it's a number of folks in the mix for it. Another Nike Bowerman Track Club athlete who has the stadium record here in the 5K. That's Evan Jager with his run of 13:24.77 that came at the 2018 Brian Clay Invitational. As the BTC had a number of quality athletes there. Again, you see Centrowitz is going to be helping out with that pacing, but we will get you all of the starters here in the Hyper Ice Men's 5K. It's Brian Schrader of Tin Man Elite in 1, Mark Scott, Bowerman Track Club in 2, Bia Simbasa of Nike and the American Distance Project in 3, Jeff Diaz of Tim and Elite in 4, Aaron Templeton competing unattached in 5, Connor Winter of Tim and Elite in 6, Connor Clark competing unattached in 7, Darius Terry of the Hoka Aggies in 8, Hassan Mead, who you mentioned, of Nike OTC Elite in 9, Dylan Maggard, Brooks Beast goes in 10, John Renowicki of Arizona State in 11, Lowy Lalang, formerly of Arizona, now running with that great U.S. Army WCAP group out there in Colorado. He goes in 12. Leonard Carrier, his teammate, in 13. Hassan Abdi of Oklahoma State in 14. Tetsuya Urazaka in 15. Tommy Curtin of Saucony goes in 16. Sam Atkin competing unattached in 17. David Elliott competing unattached in 18. Lopez Lomong, who we mentioned, also of the Nike Bowerman Track Club, goes in 19. Matthew Crow, Track Club LA in 20. Woody Kincaid of the Bowerman Track Club, 21. Grant Fisher, himself a sub-4-minute high school miler, goes in 22. Daniel Estrada of the Mexico team goes in 23. Zuhair Talbi competing unattached in 24. Tom Farrell, the Olympian, in 25, running here with the Nike OTC Elite. Riley Masters, again a familiar name on the American circuit, running for Nike, goes in 26. Hyuga Endo of Sumitomo Electric with hip number 27. Dylan Marks competing unattached, 28. Reed Fisher of Tim and Elite in 29, Reed Buchanan of the Mammoth Track Club in 30, and Christopher Ollie of Tunbridge Athletics Club in 31, and helping out with the pacing, Matt Centrowitz, again for the Nike Bowerman Track Club with hip number 32. Give me a breather here, Kevin.
You got it. I'm seeing Lenny Carrier in the top 6. I failed to mention the Rio Olympian at 10,000 meters, always tough. A guy that could win this race, comes in with a lifetime best of 13:15. But Lenny Carrier, I see Lowy Lalang in 4th, Kincaid in 5th, Carrier in 6th. Grant Fisher sits in 10th. Also inching towards the front in green, Hassan Mead with Lopez Lomong on his outside.
You gotta love that Lopez rocks his sunglasses at night.
Yeah, I think Lopez should continue at 10,000 meters. I think he can make multiple teams. The next 3 years, he can make the team at 10,000 meters without injury, because the races are somewhat tactical at nationals. Unless somebody's going to bring it and run 27:20 pace, Lopez is going to contend. So he's a guy that can continue to make teams and should stay on the track.
At 34 years of age, Lopez Lomong doesn't have the same spring in his step that he did when he made the 2008 Olympic team at 1,500 meters, but that speed does not completely disappear, and you can see just by looking at him just how strong of a runner he is and how long he's been around. Just so impressive. Of course, a disappointment in the 2016 Olympic trials, but again, a 2-time Olympian for the U.S., and I agree. I mean, I think he's in the mix there, and you see the Army jerseys of Lowy Lalang and that familiar stride that really has been missing the last few years. I mean, he was just such a tour de force when he was at Arizona and running that 13 flat over the summer. And I mean, it's good to see him back in the mix. It'd be even better to see him back at the 13 flat, possibly sub 13 range that, you know, we kind of don't have a ton of those guys here at the U.S.
Yeah, I mean, if the world standard is 27:40, and for Lopez, he ran an easy 28:20 a year ago. He might have to get after it a little bit at Stanford and get the mark, but that's totally doable. I mean, he can't have it. He doesn't have it for this year, but moving forward, like getting the mark at 10,000 meters is doable.
Well, you get the mark, and like you said, if your hat's in the ring, I agree. I think that Lopez could be in the mix in a tactical 10K. As we see it starting to string out a little bit, I'm a little surprised. You see Centro there back in, what, 10th or 11th. So maybe he's not helping out with pacing. Maybe he's just getting a little extra work in.
So 27:28 would be is the Olympic standard for 10,000. For a lot of these guys are going to be shooting for that. You know, you think 3 or 4 out of the top 8 in this race with Carrere, Lelang, Mead, and Lomong. That's a mark that they're going to have interest in a year. See Schrader steps off the track. So this race matters not only for tonight, but moving forward. You know, the 2020 Olympic 10K team could be among your top 5 in this race.
So right now it's WCAP U.S. Army teammates of Leonard Carrere and Lowy Lelang in the front. Neither of them afraid to push the pace. And there is Hassan Mead in third and Lopez Lomong in fourth. No big surprises there. We're missing Grant up front. That might be a bit of the surprise. He ran that 13:29, which many people thought was not indicative of his fitness. So we'll see if he can prove that a little bit better. Now there you see him bobbing behind Estrada there.
It looks like Grant Fisher's kind of tucked in behind Centro. Centro is his guide.
Might be a personal pacer, huh? So it's still Carrere and Lowy Lelang, and they look to be trading laps up front. Hassan Mead just been around, just always around. He's just always there. He's always in the mix. As is Lopez, and again, no surprise with those top 4 there. Leonard Carrere with a 13:15 personal best over 5K. That came all the way back in 2013.
Dylan Maggart up on the outside. Brooks Beast, formerly of Utah State, so in 13:30.
Atkin as well staying in the mix, and you see a little bit of tripping up. You'd like to see him string a little bit further out as Lowy's starting to push pace along with Maggart there. Again, they're shooting for that 13:22 at least. 13:22.5 is the world standard.
Lomong is wearing hip number, again, he's hip number 19, he's right near the front. Hip 13 is Leonard Carrere. Hip 12 is Lowy.
So everybody's still in it. I mean, all the major players within striking distance. It's a little surprising that it hasn't strung out a tad more. We come through
8:11.
8:11 or so with 5 to go. You're right, Centro and Fisher still just hanging out together, and I guess that's the benefit of being on a team, I suppose, having the Olympic champion on your team. We've seen even a couple years ago at the Brian Clay meet with Lopez Lomong helping out pacing and Evan Jaeger in that 5K, where he currently owns the stadium record at 13:24.77. But you have to wonder, these 4, 5, 6 in the front, I mean, it looks a little strung out, but it's really not. It's 2 by 2. We've got a Moses 5K going on here.
Yeah, it just is a bit slow, but a lot of these guys are ready to burst.
I think it's coming up here in the final 4 laps in the final mile as Lowy Lelang still looking smooth, looking comfortable. So does Mead. A little bit of that side-to-side rocking motion. Lopez Lomong always looking so strong as Carrere gets a little tripped up there. And that's the danger in something like this where everybody's kind of chomping at the bit. You wonder if somebody's not just going to burst out front, as you see.
So that
who's that pushing up now?
The world standard is doable. They were at about 9:18, 9:19 So it's reasonable for somebody to go 402 off of this pace, even though that sounds really fast, 402, 403, because they're just not running real fast right now. So
They better pick it up soon, though.
And that would include Grant Fisher. I can see Riley Masters part of this group. But, yeah, a lot of guys are not going to hit that standard based on the way that this race is going.
Kincaid as well in the red of Bowerman Track Club moving up, and there comes Lopez also. You got to wonder on the front side, I mean, it becomes a pacing game on the front side. Nobody's really wanted to take the lead away from Lowy early on. Lowy and his teammate Career were swapping laps, but there's too many people up front. There's 5, 6 guys all within, I say striking distance, but striking distance of each other as well. It's easy to get tripped up in something like this. 3 laps to go, and there's really no separation, not even strung out. Hassan Mead just been sitting on the shoulder of Lowy. Woody Kincaid looks to be a little bit itchy now, but he doesn't want to have to go too wide either. And you see just the stampeding herd coming down that back stretch. Looking at it straight on is really gives you an indicative, there you go, an indication of how bunched up they are. So you'd like to see this not turn into a 400-meter race. I mean, these guys, it's not a slow pace, but it's not what they were looking for. And again, that bunched up with 2.5 laps to go, or just over 2 laps to go, it kind of tells you the whole story. Now Mead making a move to take it out in front.
So I think that the standard is completely out the window now. So I don't know what everybody's waiting around for, but
2 to go. You have to think they're going to start pushing it now. 11:29 or so on the clock with 2 remaining.
That was about 65 on the last lap.
So Hassan Mead, formerly of the University of Minnesota, has had a great career, just kind of always been there or thereabouts. Lopez Lomong in second. Again, the 2-time Olympian. His career not over yet. Now here comes Grant Fisher. We see those bright red jerseys of the Bowerman Track Club, Maggard, and the neon of the Brooks Beasts also in the mix. Lowy not out of it yet. A U.S. Army W-cap jersey, but boy, does Lopez look strong.
Yeah, Dylan Margaret looks pretty good, too. He's right there, so does Grant Fisher. But Grant needs to be in a little bit closer contact if he's going to expect to chase these guys down.
Well, Hassan Mead not going to be completely known for his finishing speed. Wouldn't surprise me to see him getting past her on this last lap as it's finally stringing out now. It's Mead, Lomong at 12:30.
65-1 on the last lap.
It's Mead, Lomong, and we just talked about it. Is the kick of Lomong gone yet? I don't think it is. He moves into first. 300 to go. That distinctive look, that distinctive stride of Lopez Lomong. We've seen it for over a decade at every distance. And Hassan Mead not giving up yet. The strong.
They're rolling 28 on the last 200.
The strong, long stride of Hassan Mead trying to battle with the muscular stride of Lopez Lomong. The 1,500-meter Olympian in 2008 is not going to give it up. Look at that stride. The Bowerman Track Club red jersey. And the strength and speed of Lopez Lomong will take him home to the victory here at the inaugural 2019 Sunset Tour meet. Takes that one from Hassan Mead. 13:25.13 your winning time. Hassan Mead 13:27.71. Did a lot of the work there towards the end. And a fast couple of finishers towards the end. Woody Kincaid was a little itchy there. You think he might have wanted to go a little earlier. 13:28.83 for him. Grant Fisher 13:29.03. So he lands right at about that same spot as he gets a new PB, but just by about half a second does Grant Fisher. And the stadium record stays with the Bowerman Track Club because it doesn't get broken today.
So Lopez closed in about 55, looked really good, and complete control. He's longing for another visit in the USA jersey.
Yeah, Lopez Lomong is not done yet. You see the smile there. He knows it. That was an incredible last lap, and you have to think he can do that off a quicker pace as well. I mean, boy, he looked comfortable, and he's got a little bit of energy left here as he pumps up the crowd. But, I mean, that's, again, keeping an eye on that standard, but at the end of the day, you got to race.
Yeah, and he did that for sure. So fine racing by Lopez. I would say Dylan Maggart and Grant Fisher also looked good. So Maggart just off of his lifetime best. Riley Masters always in the mix, runs 13:29.50. So good to see Kincaid back in the game, 13:28.
So it is Lopez Lomong, the winner of your 2019 Hyper Ice men's 5,000 meters here at the Sunset Tour meet. Well, just a couple of events remaining. The women's 5,000 meters, of course, and a number of storylines there as well. And then we'll be doing a mixed 10,000 meters.